Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back once again to the Online Language Pro OnlyFans and Twitch edition of the Online Language Pro English class. In this video today, I'm going to be explaining the fundamentals of the way an English speaker thinks in relation to time and space. So let's get right to it. Now, human beings are two-dimensional creatures. Now, the reason I say that is because humans are terrestrial, so land-based animals. We are not birds, we don't fly, and we're not fish. We experience the world in a two-dimensional plane, in the way we relate to the ground, basically. So, with time and space, what we always want to keep in mind is that time and space are relative, linear, and two-dimensional. Now, what I mean by that, when I say relative, I mean that we use the same language and the same concepts to describe time as we do to describe space. When I say linear, what I mean by that is that we think about it in a straight line, okay? So let's put 2 points on our line here, right? So we see time and space in the relationship between point A and point B. Now, what we do is we always move from point A to point B. Now, whether that's time or space. So we have here the start or begin, and here the finish or the end. Okay, so let's make this line right here in the middle and call it the here and now. Okay, so now, because these are time and space, let's say this is, we have an English class from 8 to 9. Or we travel from Paris to Madrid. Okay, so now back to the here and now. So if we look at this, so anything that happens this way or this way, whether it's time or space, would be, this is after, and this is before. For example, after class, I will go to the library. Okay, so after 9 o'clock. Or my house is 2 streets after the post office. So time and space. Now, let's talk about if we go back to a specific point in the past. Okay, so let's move these out of here for a minute, right? Just so we can have a different example here. Now, let's say that specific point in the past is 2015. Okay, so I'll write a sentence down here. So I have lived in Spain 2015, right? Now, what we also want to keep in mind, as we have with this arrow here, is that time is always moving forward. And that's why we say linear and two-dimensional. We only move this direction. You cannot go sideways or backwards in time, obviously, okay? So in this case, right, so I have lived in Spain since 2015. All right, so our word here is since, a specific point in the past. Now, what about if we speak about a specific point in the future? Now, of course, again, time is moving, so we are referring to this moving time, this point. Now, let's say this point in the future is December. Keep these colors nice here. So now let's continue this. Oh. So I will live in Spain, December. Now, so something in the future. We're speaking about something is happening until this point in the future. So a specific point in the future through moving time or space until. Okay, so for example, I will live in Spain until December, or here, you drive until Madrid. Right? So now, what about the passing of time or space? So per se, this could be maybe 6 years or 6 kilometers. All right, so let's go down here and get a sentence. So I have lived in Spain for 6 years. Now, when we speak about passing time, right, we use for. Right, so I have lived in Spain for 6 years, or I have been walking for 300 kilometers, time and space. Great. So now we have the foundations of the important words when we're dealing with time and space. Let's put these all in red. Oh, can't find them. Okay, never mind. Okay, so let's move on. Now, let's speak about the 3 prepositions used to describe time and space. Okay, so our 3 prepositions are in, on, and at. Okay, so now these 3 prepositions have very specific meanings. Now, with the case of in, this is relatively easy, meaning inside of a reference of some point, right? Now that can be obviously time or space, inside of a time frame or inside of an area of space. Now, next we go to on. Now this one is not so easy to understand, but it does have a very specific 1-word meaning. Now let's think about it. So let's say I get a little bit cold and I decide to put my jacket on. Then after 20 minutes, I start to get warm. I take my jacket off and I put it on my chair. Okay. Now think about yourself. Where are your feet? The floor. On the floor. Where are you? On a chair. Where are the pictures on the walls? On the walls. So on means contact, in contact with something. Right? Now, this may seem a little bit confusing because you would say, okay, but what about the lights? The lights are on. Well, you know, technically, it's not the lights that are on. It's the switch. Right? So if we see here, as we represent in a schematic diagram, This here represents on, because as here you have with a mobile phone, you have this little button here. And when you push this little button inside of the phone, that button pushes down and there is a small contact. And once it makes contact, it's on. With no contact, it's off. So in the example of the switch, the electricity, because there is contact, is able to pass through. Whereas with the off switch, that electricity cannot pass because there is no contact. Okay, so moving on. Now, with at. At we use to describe very specific things. Specific things, especially numbers. Numbers are very specific. If you live at 46 Main Street, that's 46 Main Street. If I go to 47 Main Street, I won't find you, right? So 46 is specifically for you. For example, the airplane is flying at an altitude of 30,000 feet, not 30,006 feet, okay? So keeping that in mind. Now, let's move on to how we organize time and space. So let's start. We'll put our positions up here, and we're going to start with time. Now, again, when we think about time, we need to think about it in a two-dimensional sense, because this is how we understand things, okay? So let's see. And how do we organize time in a two-dimensional sense? Well, many of us do it exactly the same way, with a calendar. So let's say this is this year, 2021, okay? Now, put our lines in here on our calendar. Okay, so when we think about prepositions, and we're speaking about the year, what preposition do you think we use? Now, if you said in, you are correct. But why? Let's look at this. Here is the year 2021. Everything that happens in 2021 happens inside of this reference, inside of this block, right? Now, no matter where I place this X, it is inside of 2021. Now, if it wasn't, if it was last year, then it would be here, right? Inside of 2020. Okay, so here we have in. Now, let's look at the month. We'll use my birthday. I was born in April. January, February, March, April. Here is April. So, what preposition would you use for April? Or any month? Whatever month you were speaking about, always use the same prepositions. And once again, because we have this block, this reference, everything that happens inside of this block happens in April or in September, whatever. All months are always the same. It's always in. Now, let's get to the day. My birthday is the 29th of April. I was born on a Wednesday. Now, whenever you have a day, whether you use the date, like the 29th, or a day like Wednesday, or a specific day like Christmas Day, we always use the same preposition. All right, now let's try to get a visual representation of this. So we'll take this. Boom, there's my day, right? The 29th. Now, if you were to tell me your birthday, I want to remember this. So I take my calendar and I find your day and I draw a little dot on the day so that I can remember. So what we do is take this little dot here and put it on the day. All right, so whether you are born on the 29th or on a Wednesday or on Christmas Day, it is always on. Now, so what's left? We get into the day, right? Now, there's only really one thing left in the day, and that's the time. All right? Now, 8:26 is quite specific. It's not 8:27. It's technically not 8:26 and 10 seconds. It's 8:26. And because that is specific, we use at. Okay, so let's recap. In the year, no matter what year, whether that's 2021 or the year 10,000 BC, it is in the year. So I was born in 1981. The month, no matter what month, January, February, November, or December, always in. I was born in 1981 in April. The day, the 29th, on the day, on the 29th, on a Wednesday, on Christmas Day, at 8:26. Now, let's move on to space. Now, remember, relative. We use the same way of thinking about space as we do for time, and the same language, okay? So, let's start with space. How do we organize space on a two-dimensional plane? Easy. We all do it the same way. With a map. So I'm going to try to draw Spain here. Now, please bear with me because I am using a mouse, so it's not so easy. Okay, good enough. Now, using the same concepts, if we're speaking about Spain, we have this boundary here, right? This outlying boundary. And that's important to remember, like we have in time. So anything that happens in here, inside of this boundary, we use in. For example, in Spain. This, if you are here, you are in Spain. But here, no, you are in Portugal. Okay, so now, moving on. Let's add a region of Spain where I live here in Andalusia. So, again, we have a boundary. Right? We have this boundary. So anything that happens here happens in Andalusia because we are inside the boundary of Andalusia. Right? Again, here we are in Andalusia. Here we are not. We are in Murcia. Okay. Now, moving on. Next one. Let's say a city. So I live in the beautiful city of Granada. Let's draw. So Granada kind of looks like this, roughly. Now, so we speak about a city limit or a town. Again, there is a boundary, right? There is a boundary. Here you are in Granada. Here you are not in Granada, right? And the same goes for a neighborhood or an area. So let's say my neighborhood here is called the Albaicín. Albaicín. Now again, we have borders, reference points. Anything that happens in here is in. So again, we are in Granada and we are in Albaicín. Now, let's put a street on here. So let's make this street. Now, in every city in Spain, I believe there is a Gran Vía de Colón. Christopher Columbus, right? So Gran Vía de Colón. Now, here's the street. So what preposition do you think you would use here? Now, let's think about it objectively, okay? You are right here. Where are your feet? On the street. You are standing on Gran Vía de Colón. On the street. Now, streets are quite large and long. Many different places. It's not specific. But let's say this X is you, right? And you are, maybe your point of reference is post office. Oh, sorry. The post office. And you're telling me where you are, but then I'm telling you where I am, down here. Number 26, Gran Vía. Now, these points are specific points. And because they are specific, we use the preposition at. At the post office, at number 26, Gran Vía. Now, I understand that there are more post offices. Not important. The fact is that you are only specifically at one post office. So just as you could say, I am at work, or at the supermarket, or at my friend's house. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be specific to the location, but it's specifically where you are. Okay? So, exact same concept. If we have a border or frontier, we are in. Any kind of contact, we're on. If it's specific, we're at. Great. So let's do a little quick review. So if we're speaking about, let's say, the universe, the entire universe, we would be in the universe. Now, we don't know for sure that there are boundaries to the universe, but we believe there are. So we use in the universe. Now, what about if we're speaking about the solar system? So here's our solar system. Here is the orbit of Pluto, which shows the outer edge of our solar system. So once again, we would be in the solar system because we are actually inside of this reference. Okay, great. Now, what about planet Earth? Let's think about it. Here's you. Standing on Earth. Because your feet touching the ground. You are on Earth. Let's say you get into a spaceship and fly to the moon. Now you would be on the moon. Okay, good. Now, so then when we get into continents, like in Europe, in Spain, in Andalusia, in Granada. Right? Now, let's think about something a little more closer to home. The house. Here's your house. So because we have a boundary here and walls, we are in the house. Okay. Now, let's put here another floor, the second floor. Now, where are your feet? On the second floor. Okay, now let's make this large room in the bottom the kitchen. Now, because we have a room with 4 walls defining an area, we are in the kitchen. Okay, now let's move on. Let's say you've got a chair here. Right? So here's a chair. Now, where are you? On the chair. Okay, now, last one. Let's put the table in here. So what do you think? What would be the preposition you would use if you were sitting on this chair in relation to the table? Now, I know many of you probably said on the table. No, this is on the table. Now, on the table obviously means something very different than if you are right here at the table. Because this is your specific place, your specific location in the room. What I mean is, let's say this is your refrigerator. And here is a window. There are many places that you could be in the kitchen. You could be here at the table. You could be standing here at the refrigerator or standing here at the window. These are specific points. Okay, so moving forward, when we get into the more complex prepositions of movement, we're going to always need to keep in mind our 3 basic prepositions of time and space: in, on, and at.